As of 31 seconds ago, breaking news. Okay, let me take a look at this. Blizzard has announced that Phase 2 for Classic Wrath will begin on January 17th, with the Ulduar gates being opened on January 19th. Join Bran Bronzebeard expedition, explore Ulduar, and take part in an epic tournament as the forces of Azeroth prepare for the confrontation with the Lich King in the next content phase of Wrath of the Lich King Classic. Here's the complete schedule. Available starting January 17th. Dungeon and raid emblem changes. January 17th. Okay, so Ulduar comes out the 19th, but the phase changes on the 17th, so Ulduar is in 8 days. 8 days from now. On the 17th, though, a new emblem type is available, the Emblem of Conquest. Emblems of Conquest can be obtained from all bosses in Ulduar, and from the Proof of Demise heroic dungeon daily quests. You know what this means, guys? You know what this means? This means every day we get to do the daily heroic every day for 2 badges.
Please, sir, may I have 2 badges, please?
Yes, you will, you good boy. Yes, you've been a good boy. You did a boring heroic dungeon. Now you get to have 2 badges. Good boy, I'll see you tomorrow. Emblems of Valor can now be obtained from all heroic dungeon bosses and from the normal dungeon daily quest, Timir Foresees. Okay. Emblems of Heroism can no longer be obtained from heroic dungeon bosses. You can exchange Emblems of Conquest for Valor, or you can convert them down at the Money Changer in Dalaran. The Money Changer, by the way, is named Usury Brightcoin. I just want to highlight that. The Money Changer in World of Warcraft Classic Wrath of Lich King is named Usury Brightcoin. Fascinating. Okay, located at the Cantrips and Crows Tavern in the Underbelly. Okay, thank you, Usury Brightcoin. Next up, new Emblem of Conquest vendors. New vendors in Dalaran located in the Sunreaver Sanctuary for the Horde and the Silver Enclave for the Alliance now accept Emblems of Conquest in exchange for powerful loot like neck, waist, hands, and leg slot items, as well as select raid set items and deadly gladiator PvP sets. Amazing. The Argent Tournament begins. As the might of the Scourge wanes under the pressure of Azeroth's mightiest heroes, the Argent Crusade has taken a foothold in Arthas's backyard. I feel like a lot of people don't know this about the Ulduar patch. We've been talking about this here. We get the first series of Argent Tournament dailies. In a couple days, we get some Argent Tournament dailies. The Argent Tournament is like kind of booting up. Off the northeastern coast of Icecrown, they have sounded the call for the most bold and brave adventurers of the Horde and the Alliance to take part in the Argent Tournament. Representatives of all 10 faction capitals from Underbelly to Exodar have traveled to the tournament grounds to find champions among the heroes who will prepare for the inevitable battle against all living things, the Lich King. While the tournament grounds are still under construction, you can travel to Icecrown and visit the Argent Tournament Grounds daily quest hub to prepare for the challenges ahead. Okay, if I could side with the Lich King, I would. I actually would. I would disavow the Alliance. I would disavow the Horde, obviously, and I would become the Lich King's top guy if I could. If that was possible, I would do that. Conquer the arena in Season 6. After the regional weekly maintenance starting on January 17th, a new arena season will begin. At the end of Season 6, qualifying players will receive the Furious Gladiator title. I'm sorry, I just started laughing. This is going to sound really bad. I was watching another, it was like a random YouTube video that popped up. It was another guy who was reading through some Blueposts, doing like the whole classic news thing. But the problem is this YouTuber who will remain unnamed, the guy like couldn't read. Like it took this guy like 90 seconds to read like this much text. He was like stumbling and like starting over, and I was like, oh my god, I had to leave the video. Anyway, sorry. Furious Gladiator title and the Fearsome Furious Gladiators Frost Worm mount. Rating requirements to obtain Furious Gladiators gear remains unchanged from Season 5. So we still have the rating requirements. I've seen on the Battle.net forums, and don't ask why I read the BNet forums. It's like a complete waste of time, but I do sometimes. There is a whole movement. There's an initiative of people that are complaining they're not happy about the rating requirements for gear in Classic Wrath, presumably because they can't get the rating, I guess. I don't know. Real quick, in chat, give me a 1 if you like the rating requirements. Give me a 2 if you don't like the rating requirements for gear in Classic Wrath. I'm kind of, like a little bit of gatekeeping and elitism, I think, is not the end of the world. I'm in the 1 camp. I think leave them. It is what it is. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, okay, so it's actually probably mostly ones I saw in chat. Also, gear from previous arena seasons, including Season 5 gear, can be obtained from arena and honor vendors with adjusted costs in some cases and no rating requirements across the board. Yep, that's how it normally works. Titan Rune Dungeons. These are the heroic plus dungeons, so to speak. The new mysterious Titanic relic now looms near the entrance of all level 80 heroic dungeons. Once the party interacts with it and channels its power, the relic will cause all enemies in the dungeon to gain additional health and damage and additional effects depending on the dungeon. True. Every dungeon has sort of different little bonuses, or the mobs get buffed in different ways. The bosses get different buffs. It's kind of interesting. Also, there are achievements added for completing each of these Titanic Relic heroic dungeons. So you're going to probably want to do each of them once if you care about the achievements, let alone the gear. Gear that formerly dropped from normal 10-player versions of Naxxramas, Eye of Eternity, and the Obsidian Sanctum can now drop from dungeon bosses when they're under the effects of the mysterious Titanic Relic. Yeah, so if you're dead set on getting some piece of Nax 10 gear or Eye of Eternity gear or Sartharian gear, you're going back to heroics every day. Available starting January 19th. This is 2 days later. So far, everything we just mentioned is on January 17th. Now we're talking the 19th, which is Thursday, when the new raid comes out. New raid, Ulduar. For millennia, Ulduar has remained undisturbed by mortals, far away from their concerns and their struggles. Yet since its recent discovery, many have wondered what the structure's original purpose may have been. Kathy and I are watching Grant Hancock. What's the guy's name on Netflix who goes to all the old sites? Mainstream archaeologists don't want you to know this, but secretly there was an ancient civilization. Graham Hancock, whatever that guy's name was. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting show. Anyway, this sounds like a monologue from the ancient the Graham Hancock show. Some thought it a city built to herald the glory of its makers. Some thought it a vault containing innumerable treasures, perhaps even relics, of the mighty Titans themselves. Such speculations were wrong. Dun, dun, dun. Beyond Ulduar's gates lies no city, no treasure vault, no final answer to the Titans' mysteries. All that awaits those who dare set foot in Ulduar is a horror even the Titans could not, no, would not destroy, an evil they merely contained. This massive facility was constructed by the Titans to imprison an unspeakable threat to all life on Azeroth, unearth its mysteries, and claim the reward therein. But try not to lose your mind in the process. Many such cases. Raid boss is Flame Leviathan, Ignis the Furnace Master. You guys know all the bosses. Level 80, Storm Peaks, Northrend. Beneath ancient Ulduar, the old god of death lies, whispering, tread carefully, or its prison will become your tomb. What was once a prison is now a tomb. Welcome to Machu Picchu. This is Graham Hancock. Okay, whatever. Anyway, crazy. So that's what's happening. That is what's happening. I'm curious because what they didn't mention here was that the second Ulduar comes out, or the second phase 2 of Classic Wrath comes out, Nax 25 gear is supposed to start dropping in Nax 10. Presumably, Nax 10 on the week of the 17th or 18th, depending if you're NA or EU, will be dropping Nax 10 gear. Do you think that's fair to say? Probably. So NA, North American players, if you go into Nax 10 on the 17th, probably it's dropping Nax 25 gear. Europeans, if you go into Nax on the 18th, probably it's dropping Nax 25 gear. And same for Eye of Eternity, same for Obsidian Sanctum. That's something they're doing. What else? Any information on the faction change? No information on the faction change. No, that's a very pressing question. A lot of people are talking about that too. No information. No information. So we don't know. And because they did not mention that, I would speculate that it's not going to be released with the rest of this stuff on the 17th or 19th. That might come halfway through the phase or a couple weeks from now or something, right? But I feel like if that was ready and they were going to push that out, that probably would have been mentioned here, right? So it feels bad for people that are waiting for a faction change. Me, I'm staying Gnome. I was born a Gnome and I'm going to die a Gnome. That's just how the good Lord wants it to be up above. Bless his name. I'm going to die a gnome. I'll not become a human. I'm never going to be a human. But there's that. That's that. So this means that right now we are in the midst of our final lockout of Tier 7. This is the final week of Tier 7. Next week, boom, Tier 8, Ulduar. And on Thursday, the race to World First Classic Wrath, Ulduar, where guilds are going to be competing to kill Algalon and Yogg-Zero and a lot of the hard mode bosses. And of course, we're doing the whole live stream event as we've done for the last 4 Race to World Firsts in Classic WoW. We're doing the live stream commentary. We're going to be watching 8 of the top guilds around the world as they race to kill all of these new Ulduar bosses. It's going to be a great day. So that's going to be badass. Anyway, there's the news.